Okay. I'm Asia Williams. I am an educated individual in business management. I'm a liberty-minded constitutional Republican. I believe that we need a change at our commissioner's office. We need to have better communication with our departments, with our public. We need to improve those relationships significantly. We also need to address our increase in litigation costs. We need to have proactive, active risk management and mitigation. We need to have a community and not just an area of people. And we are losing our community through the decisions that are coming from the commission office. I see a need for a change significantly related to those issues. When you're sending emails and you're asking for input and you're met with unprofessional responses, it makes you question whether or not they're the right person for the job. And after looking at the history of the person who serves in my district, I thought it was time for a change. I thought it was necessary that I put my name in because my background is definitely in line with that, which I don't believe the incumbent has that background. It's a lot of work for when you look at how many grassroots groups, whether you like every single one of them or not, you've got a community that has formed grassroots groups to specifically address things that are going on in the county. And you get that because there is no transparency. And what I comment on is you have to have the trust of the public. And so when it comes to that issue where you have to trust the commissioners because you're not privy to everything, it's a constant battle. It's a full-time job watching what's happening, and it comes from not having the trust because you should know that exactly why I made a decision, because eventually Asia will make a decision when I become commissioner that you're not going to fully understand, but you could still support me if you saw a pattern of behavior that was consistent with quality risk management, good communication, and making decisions based in the best interest of Bonner County. We have to build that because that is definitely something that's missing, and that's why we have so many grassroots groups that are in such a small area because we don't have trust, we don't have transparency. You see Facebook posts that are negative and demeaning to the public from elected officials. You see the idea of, I'm the one in charge, recall me if you don't like me. That's not the attitude that we should have. It should be that as a commissioner, I welcome the grassroots group. You know why? Because that's free and it's saving taxpayers money. And it actually has people invested in where they live. So I have a bachelor's in English with an emphasis in teaching. I'm a licensed practical nurse and I have a master's in business administration. I am a Six Sigma black belt, which is not karate. Everybody thinks that that's what that is for. It is actually leadership, team building, and basically process improvement. And so that is what my background is. I've worked for the state of Washington in the field of industrial insurance. Before leaving that field for state fund, I went to self-insured, but I worked on improving the function of state government. My efforts with Washington State were actually recognized by the Secretary of State for improving the overall function of state government. There are a lot of issues with the comp plan, but then the question is, how long have we been done with our sub-area committees and we don't have our comp plan updated? Who's supposed to direct that? Do we have commissioners saying to our director of planning, where's the update? The committees have been done for over 2 years now. We've got the input of the people because that's what the comp plan is. Are we using the input of the people? I think there needs to be, on the comp plan, we shouldn't be, if we can say that we are slow to do everything because of all the other issues, when you see that the zone changes have increased in number at the rate we have increased, that has to go to the top of your list because our infrastructure doesn't support that. And we're not seeing our directors of planning requiring more information. And one comment that was made at the workshop last night is we're not gathering the data about the zone change requests and can our infrastructure support that. We're just changing it. And that goes back to communication and welcoming the public into more of what happens in the county, because everybody put their foot into doing their sub-area compact plans. Everybody did that, but we're just not using it yet, and that doesn't make sense because some of the whole purpose was, where do the people in these areas want to see their growth? It's similar to the MLD loophole. The moment that we saw there was a loophole, why didn't that have an urgent session that closed that loophole up? How many developers use that loophole against the county? And when did they know it? And that is not proactive county management. And it doesn't matter that we've got a lot of issues on the agenda. We have to look at what is the impact to our community and prioritize. Whether or not you agree with the ice rink, the appeal to emotion was a big draw to the kids need an ice rink. Everybody agrees that that would be fantastic, but we had a place already for an ice rink. Why would we give away land that would be better suited and probably more financially sound to expand our justice? And then what do you end up with? You end up with a negative interaction with public, you end up with negative interaction with our sheriff, and then you have a lot of negativity surrounding something that we should all be able to go to and feel good about. And in the end, sheriff goes to the AG and we end up pulling out of a contract. But the fact that that contract was signed is a problem. The fact that that contract was signed and it said that as the county, if the county backs out of that contract, we are going to get 3 assessments of the value of that land and owe it. I don't know anybody that would pay for a contract like that. But the county commissioners signed that. My issue with ARPA is the language of the document and our position as a county. So Bonner County specifically wrote resolutions that are opposing conditions of ARPA. We said we're not going to do a mask mandate. We said we're not going to do vaccine mandates. We passed a resolution, and then as a city, we did, or as a county, we did not move in the direction of increasing vaccinations. In the language of ARPA, it says we must respond to scale with respect to vaccinations. And it says also that you cannot do things that contravene or oppose. And so those 2 issues I've brought up to the commissioners, and I reiterated at the workshop with Bill Wilson, the attorney. And those 2 issues have never been answered. We need a risk analysis of taking the money with respect to our position as a constitutional county, with respect to a verbal decision from our county that contravenes the idea of ARPA. And that doesn't have to pull in anything about the moral interpretude of government money or inflation. It's based on the contract. It does not appear to be something that Bonner County should get involved in because we passed resolutions.
As a commissioner, would you be able to help the average person with water rights issues?
And I think that's where we should be. And I'll tell you, I think it was like over 12 years ago that we asked for water rights on our land. And we got a fantastic planner who we turned in our application, and he called, he said, you didn't ask for enough, this is how you do it. But if you call down there now, the answer, actually someone messaged me because they wanted to do water rights on their property, and they got an answer that basically said don't ask. And I think you're seeing a change in how much we're allowing the federal government in our state, which impacts water. Because if you look at our liberal states to the Washington, Oregon, they're not allowed to have water rights.
Right.
And so that is a concern for a lot of people, and that is definitely, it's your resource. I think it was one of the gentleman running for Attorney General made the comment about a case where a family got water on their property, and now there's litigation over can they use it or is it federal government. But then I will circle back to water is mentioned in the ARPA document, and so it's the question is, what is that for me? It's what is that really wanting from us as a county in terms of having all of the things that don't look COVID related in that, but definitely it's your right to have water rights. We should help people get water rights on their property responsibly.
What do you think is the most important issue in Bonner County today?
I think that the increase in our population is the most concerning, and I will add the trickle down of what the increase in population for a small county, because you can't say increase, and it is not the increase of California is moving to Idaho, and therefore that is the problem. It's moving to North Idaho, and we don't have the infrastructure to support the increase in population. And I think that it makes it so that people that have been here generationally on their plot of land, as we raise those prices of the value, our taxes are taxing you out of the ability to afford where you live. And it's like you're going to become a serf on land you own. Like when I had to write my check for taxes, I was like, if it goes on at this rate, my taxes can become a mortgage payment, which is when you look at California, that's what a lot of people are running away from is, it's not they like where they lived, it's the cost of the taxes and the redistribution of wealth that occurs. And we are not a wealthy county. We are nowhere near that. And so I think that's significant. I just think that it's, as a community, we need to come back to a community, and that's not the same as it takes a village. And I think Blanchard is a really good example for that when you look at our fire and you look at how an unincorporated area is in a county. We have to go a little bit back and start doing the take care of ourselves, encouraging ourselves to be more self-sufficient. I know that's what a lot of people came here for, was to be able to be self-efficient and not having to depend on other people for survival, to be able to grow your own food, to be able to have that rural area, not to have to go farther and farther up in the mountains to look for elk because the growth happens so fast that now it's even harder to go hunting. That's not what people moved here for. And so when I say community, I mean that aspect. Blanchard, we do our neighborhood, meet and greet picnic. That's what communities like Bonner County were before we kind of moved into this mass migration to North Idaho. Because on a commission level, I completely understand that's money coming in, but we're losing something as we do that, so we have to grow responsibly.